Hello there. My name is Cassie Hatcher. I'm the CEO of Career Confidence Resumes. I'm also a certified professional resume writer and a certified veteran career strategist. And I'm so excited to talk to you about crafting your civilian resume and translating military experience into marketable skills. I did this as a webinar yesterday, but I had some technical difficulties with the audio, so I just wanted to re-record this for everyone because this is great content that you. Just a little bit more about me on the personal side. I'm also a wife and mom of 2 little girls, and we live on a rural 40-acre homestead in central Colorado. If you've ever been stationed at Peterson or Fort Carson, we're just an hour south of Colorado Springs and an hour west into the mountains near Monarch Mountain. And we are taking on a massive project of building an earthship, which is tires compacted with dirt that lay as the foundation, and then a hempcrete interior wall. It's taken us a while. It's a massive project, and just know that all of your support typically goes to that house. My parents are both retired enlisted. That's my connection to the military. I was a military brat, and they have 35 years of combined service. And lately, in the last 10 years, my focus has been specifically on military and veterans and helping them to successfully transition into the civilian workforce. In the past, I've hosted sessions like job searching with ChatGPT and optimizing LinkedIn profiles. And I think this is one of the best webinars that I've ever created, so I'm really excited to share it with you. This is specifically for military veterans and those of us who support you who want to better optimize resumes for the civilian workforce and the private sector. So we're not going to cover federal resumes at all, but this is going to be applicable for government contractor roles. And really the number one goal of this webinar is to give you actionable, tangible strategies to help you succeed and resources, which is why I also included a 17-page handout to go with this webinar that's going to have all the information plus some extra stuff in that handout. So when I did the webinar, I asked people where they are in the transition process, and really it was a wide range from 1 to 4. Not as many people like myself that are looking to help military and veterans, but people who have just started building their resume all the way to people who are actively applying for jobs. And this is going to be relevant for all of you. So there's 4 main key takeaways that I want you to walk away with today. One is having a good grip on how to translate and civilianize military lingo, because I know that's where clients struggle the most. That's where most people say they really need the most help. And then number 2, how to make your resume stand out to employers, and really how to tailor your resume and get through applicant tracking systems to not just get through them, but rank as high as possible, so that if they only skim off the top percent based on how the system has rated everyone, that your resume will be among them. And then also how to leverage your resources, which you have a lot of resources at your disposal, a lot of people that support you. Hopefully I won't get emotional again during that slide. So about 8 months ago, I started developing, well, it was longer than that. It was about a year ago, but about 8 months ago, I launched the Military to Civilian Skills Translator ChatGPT, which is, again, there will be a link in the handout, and this is open to all. I've spent some time training it as far as, how to properly civilianize military experience, but it's always changing on me. It's always learning, and I'm learning along with it. So one example would be commanded logistics for a battalion supply chain versus after led and streamlined 1.2 million in supply chain operations and minimized downtime by 15%. That is a much stronger bullet point that is way more likely to get you into the interview. And I'm going to show you exactly a real live test of how to use this tool. So I already plugged it in since I didn't want to waste too much time in generating it. So one of the I'm curious if you know what type of eval this is. I'll give you a few seconds if you want to read it over. It is an Air Force CPR. They are famous for shortening as many words as possible and making it really difficult to read. But this is what it came up with, which was actually different than just, right before when I had tested it, which is energized, which I think that's a good power word. I don't think that's on my list, Maintenance technicians, now it does need to say how many maintenance technicians, generated 658 C-17 missions. I would like that to talk about how many C-17s were involved in those missions and the total value of all that aircraft combined. Okay, while achieving 84% repair rate, that's all really great. Would not want to use the word squadron, would want to say organization, or how many people within that organization. Okay. Yeah, there's some good metrics there. I'd like to ask it next, and let's find out, because the quantifiables are really key. Find ways to quantify, but leave new metrics blank. And I'll just give it there we go. Okay. So it's giving you some good ideas as far as like a repair completion rate percentage. Let's see, percentage of squadron logistics deployment readiness rate. It could definitely do better. So I'm going to ask it, I'm just going to say more heavily civilianized and group similar bullets under headers. Okay, I think that's much better. Still having missions, doesn't have squadron at least. But yeah, then that way too, you can have some keywords in your resume. It's a great way to break up your bullet points. So yeah, that actually turned out pretty good. Okay, let me hop back to the slide here. So now that we've done that live test, let's talk about additional ways we can use ChatGPT or in general AI prompts, whether you're using Gemini or, I can't think of the third one, imagine if. Yeah, there's a lot of different AIs out there. ChatGPT is obviously the top one. The first one that I really liked was how to translate my military experience as a blank military role into a civilian job or industry. Also, what should my resume look like if I'm targeting a career in blank? What are common interview questions that I might face when transitioning into a specific industry? Another one that I like is what veteran-friendly companies or organizations are hiring for whatever specific role or industry that you're going for. But I've included 3 pages of top AI prompts for you to try out. This is actually really fun, really low energy, and it can just get you brainstorming and get some good ideas going. Okay, another way, let me just move this, to capture an employer's attention is to use power words. So we want strong action-oriented verbs. The word responsible for, you can just cross that out of your resume. We do not want to use that term. There's so many better words out there. Spearheaded, optimized, orchestrated, and especially within that top third, we want to have the power words, and we also want to have those quantifiable based achievements because numbers draw the eye. And at that top third, I like to think of really your resume and your LinkedIn profile like a 3-course meal. So you're presenting this meal / resume to the employer, and if you can't get them to take a bite of the appetizer, which is your top third, otherwise known as your career highlights or your summary of qualifications, then likely they're not going to eat the rest of your resume, which is your experience section, your education, everything below that. And then I know we're not going to cover LinkedIn, but I like to think of LinkedIn as the dessert where employers like to go to get to know you on a more personal level, put a face with a name, and it's really, really key to have your LinkedIn profile optimized as well. And then we'll also talk about leveraging visual appeal, which I think is easier shown than talked about. Okay, so some of those power words I talked about, which again, there's the 700 plus resume power words in your handout. You led a project or program. You charted, you orchestrated, you spearheaded. If you saved time or money, you conserved, you minimized, you optimized, you restructured. If you increased efficiency, you accelerated, you boosted, you fast-tracked. You can hear how much stronger of a language that is. You commanded, again, responsible for and commanded, we don't want to use those terms. You directed, empowered, managed, oversaw, helmed. Those are much stronger words. Okay, I know we already talked a little bit about results-based accomplishments in the ChatGPT Live, but here are some additional examples and also some things you want to tweak. So oversaw an annual budget of blank, and this should be in your top third, especially if you're targeting operations management. And also ensuring expenditures remained within whatever percentage of projections. The number of personnel you led, again for operations management specifically, you definitely want to have the maximum number of direct reports you've led, indirect reports, as well as the total number of personnel you supported. This is all at one time, not a combined career-wide. And then instead of saying soldiers, we would say employees, personnel, and if they were across different military occupational specialties, then we would say that they were cross-functional as well. Cost savings. This one's a big one. Employers love to see cost savings. And I know a lot of clients I talk to will say, I didn't save the government any money. They gave me a budget and I stuck to it, or, we went over budget even. But if you had any type of, let's say for example, you were in maintenance and you had some type of turn-in program of tools, that would be an example of saving the government money. So it does take some, thinking about like those type of examples and maybe talking to a professional, and we can give you some more ideas of ways you've potentially saved money. Okay, another thing, this is for your resume and in an interview process. You really want to leverage the STAR method. So that is situation, task, action, and result. So the situation would be what challenge or problem that you were facing. The task would be the goal that you were working toward. The action would be what specific steps you took to address it, and then what the measurable outcome of that was. I know a lot of service members have a hard time accepting that these were steps they personally took, especially if they were part of a team. But even if you were part of a team, you helped make that impact. You helped that action come to be. So definitely be able to take responsibility for those things that you achieved. And this is also really helpful in an interview setting, especially when they ask you a situational behavioral interview question, which is almost always starting with, tell me about a time when you led and managed a program. Tell me about a time when you had an employee that wasn't meeting performance standards, something like that. So this is a great way in your mind to frame those answers of, okay, what was the situation? What was the goal? What was the action that I took, and what was the result? And I would really start coming up with those ideas and those specific examples now, so that you can have a repertoire to pull from when you're in an interview session and things are nerve-wracking, and you can kind of have that to resource. It also helps to have those on your resume. Now, resumes are very cut and dry. We cannot tell a story. In fact, language-wise, it's not even standard English, because we're not using of, by, for, than, and sometimes using the. So you really want to make sure to have that both in your resume and also as a narrative, as a story. Okay, so here's a good results-based experience example, which I don't know why it's so small, but leading a diverse team of how many, and you can say if they were civilians, contractors, military, supporting how much in base operations, improving base operation productivity by 89%. And I know I do, especially with my clients, include some really tough metrics where it's like, okay, can this be quantified? Like, can we at least make a really good estimate here? And of course, if there's something you don't feel comfortable estimating, don't put it in your resume, because you do have to speak to this resume, and I want you to feel comfortable speaking to it. You can also notice how I strategically bolded some of those quantifiable metrics, because again, your eye is really easily drawn to those great quantifiable metrics. Okay, visual appeal. This is my favorite. This is really the balance, because I know people are like, well, you need a plain black and white resume is fine. That works. It does work. You're absolutely right. And this is not just about looking pretty. Yet design is great. And there are some great designs out there, like on Etsy or even Canva, where I developed this presentation and where I do develop some elements of a resume, but you also have to balance that with being applicant tracking system friendly. And I can tell you from downloading some Etsy templates, a lot of the times everything is in a text box and nothing is readable to an ATS through a text box or a table, or they have some really funny images. And I do strategically use images, but none of the information contained within those images is not also strategically repeated in the content so that it is readable to an ATS. And it really is a fine balance of being too simple and blending in with the crowd, and also getting too creative and not being applicant tracking system friendly. So there's a few pitfalls here, and you do want to be really, really comfortable with Word before you try to design something yourself. Okay, tailoring your resume. This one is so exciting because this is a program that I have used for the last 15 years, and they just keep getting better and better. And I actually just purchased 200 additional client seats so that all of my clients who purchase my top 2 packages can use this tool, because it is such a great way to tailor your resume. Okay, so let me just dive into it because I think that's the best way to do it. So this is what a job scan unlimited looks like, and we really just need to worry about. So I just did a sample scan, and I'll show you what that looks like. You copy and paste your resume, copy and paste the job description. I wouldn't worry about a cover letter off the bat, and in fact I wouldn't worry or even write a cover letter for a position that is not, let me see if I can get this all in here. Okay, oh shoot. Okay, hopefully it'll do it. There we go. Okay, so it showed that it was a 40% match rate. Again, this is just a sample. It does, if you add, for example, the job title, the company name, and the URL of the position that you're targeting, it will actually give you some really good information as far as the nuances of that specific applicant tracking system. It will let you know if it doesn't see the job title in your resume as the job description. It will also let you know if there are characters in your file name or removing spaces that you need to do, or if it's too long. And then ultimately it will show you how many times it sees a keyword in your resume versus the job description, as well as some predicted keywords. This is really where you want to focus. The hard skills have the biggest impact. And then the soft skills, they're really a medium impact. There's other keywords, and then some recruiter tips, like letting you know your resume might be a little bit too long, or you don't have measurable results, or finding some negative words or cliches in your resume. In addition to that, it does have a job tracker. It has a search platform so that it pulls from LinkedIn. You can save jobs to your profile, and then let's see if I can show this accurately. So it will show you, let's just say save, yes, yes. Okay, so it will show you jobs you've saved, jobs you've applied to, interviewed, and offered, and it's just a great way to keep track of the positions that you have applied to. So this is a tool I highly recommend, and I use with all of my clients. And I actually just hopped on an hour-long call with them last week for them to give me more information. And one of the things that I really took away from that is just the increase in interview rates, increase in LinkedIn profile views, because they do also have a LinkedIn optimizer. That's really helpful. And then decreasing time to interview. Okay, so let's talk about those tools. So there are some great resources out there and tools out there. One that I worked for over a year, and I still highly recommend, is Hire Heroes USA. They are a veteran nonprofit, totally free. It does take some time. You definitely want to give them some lead time. It can take a month or even 2 months to get your final version of your resume, and really just to get into a veteran career, a veteran transition specialist. Just know, if you go that route, you are going to get a cookie cutter resume. It's going to look the same as 80,000 other people. That's just, they've used the same template for a very long time. Versus if you do decide to work with me or another resume writing company that focuses specifically on military and veterans, you are going to pay a higher price. Our packages, our base package starts at 2 payments of $500 all the way up to $2,200 if someone is looking for additional career counseling, LinkedIn optimization, bio, all of that good stuff. The other person that I highly recommend is Lori Norris. If you're not following her on LinkedIn, you should be. She also has a fantastic podcast to listen to, but that's one resource to consider. You can also DIY your resume. Absolutely, you can. I can also DIY getting my oil changed. You know, I have all the tools here. I can go get an oil filter and go get the oil, and I have the little ramps that they need to go up onto. But, you know, I'm going to get dirty. It's going to take some elbow grease. It's going to take a lot of time versus I can pull into Jiffy Lube. They can get it done in about 10 minutes, and I'm in and out of there for around $100. So what your time is worth, just something to consider. And if you do decide to DIY, I highly recommend using a proven template, which we do have we have 10 templates on our website that right now they're typically $99, but you can get them right now for $79. And then something else that I've been really just playing around with and need your feedback on is doing a boot camp, because my goal for 2025 is to help at least 500 veterans successfully transition. And obviously I can't do that all on my own. Even with a team, that is going to be a tough goal to hit. But if I can get everyone into a group where we have homework and you have those resume templates available to you and you have job scan, I really think I can help that many people. So I would like to get your feedback on that. I'm looking at towards the end of the year, maybe between like Christmas and New Year's timeframe, but you'll see some polls coming out asking you, first of all, if you're interested, second of all, what timeframe works best for you. Okay, so I'm thinking, and I'll probably do just a half-day session, either like an evening or a weekend, or maybe even during the week during the holidays. You can also do 4 one-hour sessions. It's going to take about 4 hours. So I do ask that this is specifically for military and veterans targeting leadership roles, and that's because that is the majority of the work that I've done and the templates that I have. And this is for people who want more than the free or the cookie cutter resume and also have at least that 4 hours of availability. So the 10 specific resume templates that will be included in the boot camp are going to be operations specific, project management, logistics and supply chain, IT and cybersecurity, human resources, public affairs and relations, military reserve and guard, travel and executive protection, maintenance leadership, and aviation leadership. And again, it's going to be either a half day or 4 one-hour sessions, and you're going to get 12 months of access to those recorded sessions. So if you can't attend them live, totally understandable. You also will get a Job Scan Unlimited, which is a $356 value. It's a really great, powerful tool that I'm excited to offer, as well as resources, worksheets, checklists, and a closed networking group for support. So most of you probably have already connected with me on LinkedIn. If not, please connect with me. I would love to talk with you one-on-one. I also do 20-minute free resume consultations. If you are really within probably the next like 6 to 12 months of actively job searching, that's the best time to reach out. So thank you all so much. I hope you get a lot from this. Please let me know really what is the top takeaway for you, and I hope to see you soon. Thank you. Bye-bye.